Home buyer regret is exploding right now. And if you've watched even 2 seconds of TikTok lately, you may have seen some of these house poor meltdowns. These are people who are stretched to the limit. They're often struggling to pay for anything because all of their money is going towards their mortgage. I'm Ramit, Sethi, host of Netflix's How to Get Rich. My team pulled together some very painful house poor TikToks, and I haven't seen any of them yet. Some of the people in these videos have real legitimate problems. Others, I'm told, well, some of their decisions were avoidable. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you how I decided whether to rent or buy, even as a multimillionaire who can afford to do either one. Let's jump into the first TikTok video.
I am selling my house and I'm getting ready to move back with my parents yet again. I am single. I do have a 9-to-5 job where it does not pay me nearly enough.
For just a few years, want to buy a house. It's actually very confusing to me. The idea that you are young, you're in your 20s, you are on the steep incline part of your career, and suddenly you want to buy a house? Make that make sense for me. Because when I think about what I did in my 20s, I wanted to be mobile. I wanted to be able to move from city to city depending on jobs and friends and social environment. I didn't want to park Palo Alto, San Francisco, and New York. Why would I have bought a house in my 20s? It's very confusing to me.
And I am just exhausted. I am drowning, barely surviving, not being able to make repairs because the house is now falling apart and I have no money in my savings to fix it.
This is one of my financial nightmares. It's taking all of my money, locking it up into an illiquid, geographically undiversified asset with massive transaction and holding costs. And the only thing I get out of it, besides a roof, which is nice, is that when I go up to somebody and I shake their hand and they go, "Oh, are you a homeowner?" I go, "Yes, I bought this house, even though I have a 29-year mortgage left." And they go, "Wow, that's so cool. You're a homeowner." What the f? Why are you all seeking approval from so many people? Have you ever run the numbers yourself? You're about to make a multi-$100,000 purchase. Did you ever sit down and ask yourself a few questions? Hey, Ramit, or whatever your name is, do I actually want to buy a house? Why? And then you play the 5 whys game. Because that's how I create generational wealth. Why? Oh, because I need generational wealth. I'm only 24, but I need to pass it to my kids and grandkids. Why? That's too much for everybody. Just buy the house. Hurry up, because prices are only going up and you're never going to be able to afford it again. Ah!
I have been saving for the past 3 years. All I've been doing is working and going straight home. I don't go out.
Another nightmare of mine is spending all my money to buy a house and then I can't do anything else, especially in my 20s and 30s, but actually for the rest of my life. Hard to eat out, hard to take a trip. When people say like, "Hey, we're 26, we have this bachelorette party." And the first thing I think of is like, I can't do that because I have a mortgage. I'm like, is this really what I want?
And I just don't want any of it anymore. So I'm selling it. I don't know what my plans are going to be after I sell my house and maybe leave this.
Stop right there. The same way that you got into this major purchase is the same way you are getting out of it. And that's a big mistake. I really wish that this creator would slow down, run the numbers. How much do I expect to make? Okay, I'm going to how to make the right decisions that power your rich life. And when you do this, you can immediately tell whether buying a house will make your life better. I am a multimillionaire who has rented for the last 20 years. And I'm going to tell you something shocking. I have made more money renting than I ever would have owning a house. That probably sounds crazy to you, but in my opinion, here's what's actually crazy. We have a serious housing crisis in America. And the solution that people are pushing, buying a house at any cost because you're throwing money away on rent, is actually making it even worse. Do you know someone who is house poor? What do you know about them? A lot of people will tell you they can't actually do anything. They can't eat out. They can't travel anymore. It all goes into their house. But it actually doesn't have to be this way. For example, in Germany, the majority of people now rent instead of owning. That's become the default route. And I bet if you really stop and think about it, you might start to question this dream of home ownership that has been bestowed upon you. For example, here's a question. Would you rather make a $3,500 mortgage payment every month Or would you rather take a month-long trip to Italy once a year? Be honest, let's say that I was paying $5,000 a month in rent for this apartment. In order to own it, it would cost over $12,500 per month. That is thousands of dollars more every single month just to own the same place I'm already sleeping in. You know what I do instead? I take that extra money, the difference between $12,500 and $5,000, and I invest it in index funds that generate consistently over time about a 7% real return. Because when you buy, you are ignoring the phantom costs of home ownership. These are costs that are largely invisible to you when you are signing the papers, even when you're paying them. I will show you the math. If you buy a house for $400,000, over 30 years, you're not just gonna pay $400,000. By the end of your payments, you end up paying nearly twice that original amount. That's another $400,000 on top of the original purchase price, thanks to interest. And there's more. You'll also pay property taxes, maintenance and repairs, homeowners insurance, closing costs. Add those in, and your $400,000 house will cost over $1 million by the time you're done. You could sell that house for twice what you bought it for and still lose money. This is why it's a myth. It means you stay in places you want to leave because you're locked in for 20 years. It means you sacrifice your peak years just to make a down payment on a house that actually, if you ran the numbers, you would discover underperforms an index fund. Is that freedom? Is that a rich life? Here's what very few people will tell you. The buy at all costs mentality is not really about helping you build wealth. Your parents bought into homeownership when it made sense, but even they did not run the numbers. Yes, they probably built wealth, but then what they did is they pulled up the ladder behind them. And now they're giving you the same advice in a world where houses cost 5 times the median household income, especially early on in your life. When you are locked into a 30-year mortgage, you cannot take risks like quitting a job to make more money and moving somewhere else because unless you've stayed there for 5, 10, 15 years, you've incurred massive costs. And that pressure to buy no matter what, that also keeps prices artificially high, which compounds this crisis. In order to solve this housing crisis, it is a multifactorial problem. Here's what I want you to do to do it. But if you're planning to pay off your mortgage early, that decision might actually cost you $400,000 or more. This is an important money decision that a lot of people don't actually understand. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the real math behind paying off your mortgage early. Why early? Sounds smart, right? But after we talked more, we discovered that that one decision was gonna cost them over $240,000. Millions of Americans are obsessed with becoming debt-free. A lot of us believe that debt is bad. We need to make it go away. And this is an invisible script that we've been carrying our entire lives. This idea that debt is terrible, it's bad, it guides or they could invest that same amount and make roughly 7% after inflation, which would end up netting them about $812,000 over that 22-year period left in the mortgage. In other words, even if you account for the interest on their loan, they would net at least honestly, you're gonna be shocked. The difference between those numbers can be as high as $100,000, $200,000, $400,000 over your lifetime. Like if I asked you, hey, do you wanna pay $400,000 extra just to feel a little better? You'd be like, no, I want $400,000 in my freaking bank account. So I want you to pause and ask yourself, but what if you lose your job or your kids need braces or your car dies, you need $8,000 for a replacement? Where's that $18,000 that you put in your house? Where is it? Hey, somebody give it to me. It's locked up. You can't access it without selling your house, taking a loan, or taking out a line of credit. Except now you're taking out more debt and you're securing it with your house. And also, what if you've lost your job? Now it is to live a rich life, to have your money working harder than you do. So stop and think about this. Where did you originally learn about money? Who talked to you about it? And what did they tell you? For a lot of us, it was our parents, and they said simple phrases like debt is bad, pay off your house as fast as you can. It's the American dream to own your house. And in 1985, when they were buying houses, it kind of made sense. Mortgage rates were 12%, so you would want to pay them off. And the stock market was not as simple and accessible as it is today, especially with the extra you have available is actually worth more to you now on a family vacation than paying off a 3.75% mortgage. So if you have extra money, take a second and ask yourself, what is my rich life? What do I value? And what is the right decision to make for me? I call these areas money dials. They are areas of your life where spending money brings you disproportionate joy. Like, for example, maybe for you, it's eating out at incredible restaurants and paying for a friend. Maybe it's health and wellness. It could be a personal trainer, organic food, yoga retreats. Maybe it's convenience. This is actually my money dial. It might be hiring someone to clean your house so you have more time with your spouse or your kids. Here's the key. When you turn those dials up and you spend extravagantly on them, your life will feel far richer than if you simply try to cut back 5% on everything and then spend a little bit more on whatever. If you run the numbers and you decide you still want to pay off your mortgage early, and that is important to you, I'm all for it. I just don't want you to get caught in a one-dimensional approach where all of your extra money goes to the places it should go instead of taking a full bird's eye view of your entire financial system. Now, with over 1 million subscribers on this channel, I really want to thank you for being a part of my community. And I really want to share the best money psychology resources in the world. So if you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be sharing even more videos and resources just like this. So stay tuned. You know, when I talk to people about money, I notice a lot of them seem to only live for the future. They'll basically say things like, once I pay off my mortgage, then I will finally feel good about money. Then I can travel. Then I can finally enjoy my money. A lot of us delay good things until some